Hello. Okay, so this is I want to say long-awaited video. It's not super long-awaited because it's just now week 3. And I did mean to have it already up. Oops. And I was still debating. A lot of what I was waiting for when I said in the very first one was to see what happened in the first week of the new administration. A lot of environmental science, we cover it later in the term, is based on whoever is, well, the science is not based on it. Let me fix that. Certain things that you have to address is politics, policies, because that is part of it. Our governments dictate what is rule, law, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So any policy pertaining to the environment has to go through the government stuff. So if you look at the syllabus and look at the different chapters, you'll see that we have to cover the politics stuff. And considering the first time Trump was in office, the first thing, one of the early things, or one of the main things he did was he pulled us out of the Paris Agreement. Um, and some of the statements he had made previously, I had a good indicator that there was going to be some environmental stuff popping up. And it's important for people to understand and to research and to form their own thoughts on and understand. So once he was sworn in this past Monday and he did all those executive orders, I took a moment and had to think on this one. I'm not going to lie. It hit me pretty hard. Um, the various executive orders. And I was not really surprised. I was disappointed a lot and appalled a lot, but I was not really surprised. And that is why your paper is going to be what it is. Now, before I go further, I want to make it clear that any videos that you watch throughout the term, make sure to look at the little description because I'm still working on catching up and remaking them. And so if it says underneath it, previously recorded, and it has information that does not pertain to this course, just ignore it. Things like about the group project. I used to make everyone do a group project, and I'm not doing that this term. So this semester, there is no group project. So semester-long project, the beginning, group project, any of those types of things. If you hear them in a video, just ignore them. That just means I haven't remade a video for that area yet. And I'm trying to get on top of it. But this last week really kind of kicked my butt. And yeah. So sorry, my asthma's like kicking my butt today. So what I've done here is I am going to show you 2 different pages because I have 2 different sections for this class. We have section 3, which looks like this, and we have section 6 that looks like this. These are exactly the same class, so it really doesn't matter which one I show. It's you are in one of these 2. I'm not making 2 videos. So that's what I'm trying to show you. To find stuff about the new paper, you are going to go to papers and such. Click here. See where it says paper details? Go there. So here's the paper details. I'm letting you know right away that more details will be coming. I am just giving you a place to start. This paper is intended to take the entire semester. It is not possible to do it like a couple of days before it's due. You will not be able to pass if you wait until right before it's due. There will be a checkup around midterm about how you're doing, seeing what's going on with you, seeing if you have questions, and then giving you further directions. The last batch of directions will be probably about a week before the paper is due. If you do everything as I give you instructions, it will not be difficult at all at the end of the term. If you sit there and just try to act like you're doing it and you don't actually get started, you will fail it. That's just a fact. So here we go. I put here about it taking the entire term, and I say because it's a lot of research. I talked a moment ago about the executive orders. I started to say disorders. That's not right. Executive orders that were signed on Monday. And right here, I just copy and pasted all of the ones pertaining to energy and the environment. These are hyperlinks, but only if you have New York Times. So like, oh no, actually good. It comes right here. So you can actually see what each one is. It's telling you the purpose, the policy, and what they're planning to do. So for every single one of these, you can get more details. This is on our current White House website. I have something I have to say, and it's going to come across so bad, but I'm going to say it a little bit later. So what you have to do is you have to look at every one of these, read every one of these so you can understand what they are. Notice it says you are to research each of these. You need to be able to explain what each one of these actually means and how it will affect the environment, not how it's going to affect the economy, how it's affecting the flippin' planet. The planet does not care about money. And if we kill the planet, we kill everything on the planet. And this is why I'm kind of losing it right now is environmental science. I love. I love the planet. I love being able to breathe. I love that we have various animals and plants and whatnot. I love this planet Earth. And a lot of these are going to seriously hurt the planet. So you have to research every one of these and look at how it's affecting the environment. If you think it's going to help the environment, tell me, but you have to also back it up. You have to have valid sources to back up everything. I am not telling you what to think. I am not telling you whether or not you have to think that Trump is wonderful or horrible. That's not what we're doing here. We are looking at the environment. This is environmental science. So we are looking at the science part. We are not looking at the politics. We are not looking at the money. We are not looking at jobs. We are looking at the environment. So if when you're writing, you start putting things like the economy, you will immediately lose points. It will be in the grading rubric, which will be posted around midterm. So you've got it to look at. We are looking at environment. So right here, the first stage of the paper, all of that, it's going to take you a minute to read through all of those and comprehend them. You're going to have to be able to explain what each of them actually mean in small amount of words. I need to know, you know, what each thing stands for. I put down here in your own words. I like casual. I am okay with casual. We will work on making sure that you are grammatically correct. I am fine with you using first person. You can say, as I was reading these, I discovered. That's perfectly fine. That's casual. I'm good with that. I don't want someone trying to pretend that they're super academic. This is not the place for that. This is a place for me to know that you have actually done the research, you understand what everything means, and you tell me what you think. And I also put in here clearly, for the love of all that is holy, do not use ChatGPT. You will be tempted. Please don't. I hate that crap. And when people use it in science-based things, so many times it's all messed up. A lot of times it doesn't even make sense, and a lot of the sentences are not even coherent. People constantly use them to try to write their discussions, and I get very annoyed. Do not use that for the paper. By the time you turn in this paper, I will have a pretty good understanding of how you write. So if it suddenly sounds completely different, that's problematic. Please, I want to know your voice. There's not a lot of places in this world where people tell you straight up, I want to hear your voice. That's what I want, your voice. I already stated somewhere around midterm, I'm going to have an assignment to see how you're doing on this. That's when I'm going to give you further instructions. Right here, telling you get busy researching and figuring out how you would explain all of these, because it's a lot. Like, it's legit a lot. I put right here about, in your own words, the best thing you can do is pretend that you're explaining it to somebody who knows nothing about any of it. If you can explain stuff to someone who doesn't know anything about it and they understand, that means you've got it. That's what you're supposed to be doing for this. I want you to be vocal. Ask me questions if you have questions. You're going to have to be looking for sources, valid sources, to back up any claim you make. So that means when you look at the executive order and then you say it basically means blah, 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 it's going to affect the environment this way. How do you know how it's going to affect the environment? You have to provide the sources for that. And they have to be proper, valid sources. And sadly, right now, our White House website is not a valid source. So you can use that for what the current administration is saying is the reason. But then you have to do more research outside of that, multiple sources, and explain what it actually means. An example is one of the executive orders is the current administration is trying to state that there is an energy emergency in the United States, and so we need more coal. This is not a fact. There is no energy emergency. There is no crisis. This is literally something trying to get pushed through just to increase coal production. You're going to have to show that. So if you're going to say there is an energy crisis, you're going to have to back that up with actual valid sources. And while I'm talking about valid sources, Fox News is not a valid source. The reason Fox News is not a valid source is they lost a lawsuit a couple of years ago where they had to admit and publicize, which they did, that they are not a news source. They said straight up that they are an entertainment business. They are not a news source. So if the source straight up says they are not a news source, you cannot use them as a news source. There are other sites that might look valid, but that's why you have to do multiple sites. If you only find something at one place, that's not valid. This is that part of the science of environmental science. Science dictates it has to be repeatable. It is not considered scientific to say, hey, look, I succeeded at X. Like, hey, I turned this lead into gold. And then I go, look, here's the lead, here's the gold, but then nobody else can do it. That means it's a load of crap. Science dictates it has to be repeatable. You have to have seen it in multiple locations. You have to research. That's part of what you're doing here. So for all of your sources, all of your facts, you have to have multiple sources. You can't just have one source for a fact. You need like 3 sources for a fact. And that doesn't just mean different pages of the same website. I've had people do that. That's still one source. You have to dig. That's why you need to start now. It is a lot of research, but it's something that a lot of people have been lacking. Too many people have not been researching. Too many people have not really been reading. They skim or they listen to what someone else says something is, and that is destroying us. And since this is environmental science, and since quite frankly, it feels like we have an attack on the environment, I figured it's good to make you, my American students, educate yourselves on what America is doing and how that is affecting the planet, whether good or bad. So again, this is not going to be about economy, about jobs, or about America. It is about the actual executive orders and what that means for our environment. And when I say our environment, I mean the land, I mean the air, I mean the global implications, because we are a sphere, we are a biome, a biosphere. We are all one thing. What happens on one part of the planet happens to the whole planet. And I think a lot of times people forget that. And I think a lot of people aren't really paying attention to how everything affects everything. And this is huge. So, recap, start researching all of those executive orders and seeing what they mean, making sure you understand what they mean, that you can explain what they mean. I would recommend opening a Word document, putting the name, then researching it and trying to put it in your own words and just put that in the Word document. Because if you just do that, that's going to help you a ton. That will so set you up for the next section or the next part of the paper. So there you go. That's what you have to do. It's going to be a lot of research. So please, please start immediately. Feel free to ask me any question you have. I will answer you. But like I said in the other things, you will reach me fastest if you email me, not through Brightspace, but the actual email. So open your email account and go to, or send it to linda.bernhardt@sgsc.edu. Send me to that email and I will get it faster and be able to respond much quicker than if you send it through Brightspace. No, I haven't given you page limits, words, format. I haven't given you any of that yet. Don't worry about it. You are on the research portion of this paper. You are not able to write the paper yet. You are researching. So please, please, please get started on that. And hopefully later this week, I'll be able to start updating videos for next week so I can get ahead. I'm taking my mom early tomorrow morning to the hospital for surgery. And so a lot of stuff will be based on how all that goes. So when I tell you my life is like insane, it's really flipping insane. I think that's it. I know I'm rattling. It's been a long flipping day and I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything. Yeah. So anyway, ask me whatever you need and peace out.